Mets with a series victory. Great starting pitching from Frankie Montas. You get some excellent relief work. They end up going to Reed Garrett. Chris Devenski able to get out of a little bit of a jam there in the 7th inning. And then they turn to Edwin Diaz for the 6-out save. Juan Soto with the 2-run bomb, his 22nd home run of the season. Mrs. Tony has had it. We made this trip down here, and would have been pretty bad if they had lost these two games.
Yes. It worked out.
Yes. Well, luckily, we are very happy Mets fans here. Lots of Mets fans here in attendance at Kauffman Stadium. What is up, you guys? Tony Metro, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to leave this video a like. Really appreciate it. It goes a long way toward helping out the channel. We are going to recap this game pretty briefly as we kind of make our way, mosey on out of the stadium here in Kansas City. But a really fun 2 days for the Mets. Danny, tell me, what was your big takeaway from today's game? Because the pitching really held strong and what was a very nip and tuck kind of game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and you got it from Reed Garrett in the 6th inning as soon as Frankie Montas got in trouble. Yes, definitely. So Frankie Montas delivers a really solid, probably his best start so far since returning from the injured list. So that was great to see. He goes 5+ innings, obviously gives up back-to-back doubles to lead off the top of the bottom of the 6th, and he gets pulled there. Reed Garrett, though, he attempts picking off the guy at second base. We have a runner at third with no outs, and we're thinking there's no way this game is not going to get tied, right? Except Reed Garrett able to get a pop-up from Bobby Witt Jr., able to get a ground out. Really nice play from Luis Angel Acuna there on a little short hop to him. They almost turned the double play. They don't get it, but then they do end up getting the final out on what I believe was a ground out there to get out of that jam. They turn to Chris Devenski for the 7th. It was a little tumultuous, a little worrisome, but Devenski able to put up another 0 on the board. And then with the 2-1 lead, the Mets turn to Edwin Diaz. We get the replay review that overturns what I personally feel should have been a stolen base from Bobby Witt Jr. How you overturn that call, I don't know. It did not look like he actually came off the base, but we'll take it anyway that we can get it. And then the Mets able to add another insurance run. Jeff McNeil with a very clutch 2-out hit to drive in Pete Alonso after he hit a 1-out double in the 9th. And in the end, it is a 3-1 win for the New York Mets. We have had a great time so far here in Kansas City. Had some good barbecue, and so far, 2 Mets wins. Really happy about that. So why don't you show them the jersey that you got here? I know it's somewhere around here, but I am wearing the jersey that you guys typically would see of me, the road gray Mets that has Tom Goodwin on the back, but she, Mrs. Tony, is wearing a very classic Mike Piazza. That's right, a little batting practice jersey from back in, I think it was the mid-90s. So we have been representing the orange and blue here very well. Lots of Mets fans in the building. I gotta be honest, Kauffman Stadium is not top tier. I would probably put it bottom 5 stadiums that I have ever been to. It is chaotic up there in the venue where you're trying to get food and all that stuff. And overall seats are like, okay, but they're all facing center field. So you kind of have to do that whole thing we used to have to do at Shea Stadium where you're turning your head toward home plate the entire day. But still, regardless, Mets get dubs, and I'm going to have a good time. You're going to have a very happy Tony Metro. Let's go to the chat. Guys, I've never done one on my mobile for a live, so I'm going to do my best to read some of these comments, but let's actually turn it, let's turn it this way. Here we go. Hey, what's up? Put your hand over the camera for alarmer. Alarmer? I don't know what that is. What is a Lamar edit? That's according to Riz. 2 Cats. 2 Tony, great W, my guy. Also, you're bagging the Huzz. Good day all around for you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, she's a nice lady. Let's see, Red Bear Fox, happy for your girlfriend. She gets happy, Tony, and doesn't have to deal with enraged Tony. Yes, exactly. And you guys have seen happy Tony, you've seen enraged Tony, so you guys are fully aware of how it goes here. Stanley Babish, do you bring back Sevy? 100%. I would love to bring Sevy back. I don't know how that's going to work as far as that contract, but Mets definitely could use another starting pitcher. I will say, very encouraging to get the start that we got from Frankie Montas today. 5+ innings, ends up getting charged with 1 run, but really happy with what we got from Frankie Montas. Clearly his best outing so far of the season here in 25. I'm going to turn back to the side because I can't continue holding it this way. There we go. And I think I'll be able to still read everything. Let me just double check. But I don't know what that Lamar effect is that you're talking about. But Stefan, what's up, man? All the way from Amsterdam tuning in. How you doing, man? Fun couple wins this weekend so far. Mets are going to be looking for a sweep of the Royals, who came into this series playing really good baseball, and the Mets have turned them away so far. Won the first 2 games of the series, and hopefully they can get a sweep right into the All-Star break on really good terms. And I said it before this series and before Baltimore, after we finished last weekend with the Yankees, I wanted the Mets to win 4 of these final 6 here before the All-Star break. And now, if they can do that tomorrow, they will have accomplished that. I said I didn't care how it happened. If they lost 2 out of 3 to one of these teams, but swept the other, that was fine by me. That's how it went with Baltimore. Unfortunately, that doubleheader, not exactly the best day for us, but they'd come out here and they have won the first 2 here against Kansas City. Juan Soto, of course, I'm kind of burying the lead with that 2-run shot to put the Mets up. And we were sitting among a big contingent of Mets fans here down the first base line. And they were getting up and they were getting loud. Had a nice little "Let's Go Mets" chant at the end of this game, and I'm still seeing a lot of them filing out of the stands. So it's been a really fun weekend so far here in Kansas City as the Mets win this game 3-1. Let me go to the chat, and we're going to actually make our way out of the stadium so you can take a little tour with me, a virtual tour, if you will, and I'll show you what Kauffman Stadium looks like. So here we go. But let me take a look at the chat, and also, guys, sound off in the chat. How you feeling about this W? Mets get back on the horse. Comeback victory yesterday. Sorry I didn't have a post-game live after that one. It was fireworks night. What do you want from me, right? You know, romantic. We had to make sure that it was happening. But anyway, really fun win last night where it looked like the Mets were not going to come back and make anything happen. They're leading the whole way 1-0, but you knew 1 run wouldn't be enough. They explode in the 8th. Mark Vientos with that clutch bases clearing double to put them up 4-3, and then 3-run shot from Lindor, back-to-back, belly-to-belly with Juan Soto, and the Mets take the 8-3 win yesterday. And now today, the pitching staff are the ones that hold the load for the Mets. I mean, if you would have told me the Mets are only going to score 3 runs, Frankie Montas is on the mound, and they go to Chris Davinsky at one point in this game, I would have said, there is no way the Mets are going to win this game. But they find a way to do it, and in the end, a nice series victory with a chance to sweep tomorrow. Let me go to the chat. Again, Stefan, what's up, man? Greets from Amsterdam. We got Edward Christian Aquan. He says, yo, been missing your live yesterday. I know, man. I'm sorry I didn't have the live going yesterday. It was a night game. Ended late, obviously, because of the rain delay, and then it was fireworks night, and I'm not super familiar with the area. No excuses, I should have been here for you guys. I apologize for that, but let's see. He said, I'm blind as a bat. You guys know this by now. Offense still sleeping, but it's a great win to go into the All-Star break with a Series W. 100%. Offense is definitely leaving a little bit to be desired still. Only 4 hits entering the 9th inning, but fortunately Pete able to get that double, and then Jeff McNeil with 2 outs, able to get an insurance run across the board with his single up the middle. So offense has not been truly inspiring like we were hoping it might have been coming out of that series against the Yankees, but they're able to get the job done. And again, it's a major total credit to this pitching staff as they were able to navigate a couple of difficult innings there. From the 6th inning on, it seemed like the Royals had a guy on base, a guy in scoring position almost every inning. Chris Davinsky holds strong. He is aided by some really sharp defense from Luis Angel Acuna. And then they're able to get 2 innings from Edwin Diaz, and like I said, aided by that overturned steal call, which personally I never would have overturned. I didn't see him come off the bag, but we'll take it any way that we can get it. Let's see, the baseball pure 3-hour drive to Kauffman Stadium for Tony. Yeah, it was a 3-hour drive, so we decided let's head over to Kansas City. We've never been to Kansas City, and here we are. It's a great place. Gotta say though, stadium lacking a little bit. Not exactly the most beautiful or well courses and all of that, which, I mean, what do you expect from one that was built in 1973? So no fault to the Royals, but I mean, kind of a dump. if I'm being honest. Kind of a dump. Didn't really like it. Explosive Diarrhea. Nice to see 2 wins, Tony, in person. Dude, I am 6-0 this year. So I am once again starting my campaign to buy Tony Metro season tickets for the Mets because they are undefeated so far when I am at a game in person. 2-0 at Citi Field against the Blue Jays for the home opening weekend. 2-0 in the series against the Colorado Rockies. And now 2-0 the first 2 games of this series here in Kansas City. So 6-0, I'm just saying. If you guys all want to chip in and get us some season tickets, they don't need to be nice seats at all. Like, we'll sit wherever we got to go. We'll relocate to Queens. We're fine with that. But yeah, really fun weekend so far here in Kansas City. Unfortunately, we're not going to be going to tomorrow's game on Sunday. It's her fault. But, no, I'm just kidding. We got to get back home. But hopefully the Mets will take care of business tomorrow. Sweep tomorrow, win 4 of the final 6 going into the All-Star break. We gained a game on the Phillies who lost last night. And now another half a game today. Not sure what the Phillies are doing on this current juncture. I don't know what time the Phillies play today. They may have already finished. But a chance for the Mets to leapfrog them, go back in front of them in first place by a half a game if the Phillies do lose. But sound off in the chat, guys. How you doing? Stoney. Hi, Tony. What's up, Stoney? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Thank you so much. Edward Christian Aquan. By the way, Soto is an all-star. Second half will be fun when our pitchers return from the injured list and maybe us getting a pitcher and maybe a center fielder. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Christian, because, yes, we have been lamenting Tyrone Taylor's at-bats. They have been pitiful lately and really the entire season. But that being said, this is in the 9th inning. That sliding catch on warning track is exactly why. If you fill out the rest of this lineup, play third base, you get somebody for center field, but you can still keep so much to this team defensively. So hopefully the Mets will be able to keep Tyrone Taylor and still add a legitimate bat and get that great defense that he has always provided for this team. So really good comment from you there, Edward. But we're about to take a seat here because it's about 90 degrees and 100% humidity. And if you can't tell, I'm sweating. So we're going to take a seat, and then I'm going to get back to your guys' chat as we mosey on back into downtown Kansas City. It's about a 10-minute drive to go from downtown to the stadium, and you guys may be able to see it here, but behind me here is the home of the Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. They call it Geha Field. So Geha Field at Arrowhead Stadium, and then right here is Kauffman Stadium, home of the Kansas City Royals, where the Mets have taken the first 2 games of the series. But if you can get a new, that'd be great. Anyway, guys, let me get back to the chat here. How's it going? I know this is a little bit different of a live stream than I normally do. I'm normally in my studio, but as you guys all know, I am here traveling on the road supporting our New York Mets, the Orange Blue. 6-0 on the season so far when I have attended a game in person. Guys, so really, really cool. But let's go to the chat. Jose Lopez Moya, you can say whatever you want about Taylor's offense, but his defense is elite. Spot on. You're not going to get a whole lot of production at the plate from Tyrone Taylor, but the play like he just made there in the 9th inning to lead things off, sliding to catch a ball on the warning track in the gap, not many players are going to make that kind of catch. Love Tyrone Taylor. Hopefully they can upgrade the bat as a starting center fielder, maybe Jarren Duran, maybe Byron Buxton. We've talked about Cedric Mullins, who you can get one of those guys and still keep Tyrone Taylor as your 4th, 5th outfielder on this team. Stoney, Chiefs, my favorite team. Let's go. Chiefs, but a diehard Mets fan. All right, that's cool, man. Well, you've had some good luck with your Chiefs over the last couple years. I can't say the same about my Jets, but there you can see it right behind me is Arrowhead Stadium. Here is Kauffman Stadium. They are literally a stone's throw away. It's kind of like the whole Xfinity Live thing and set up for Philly with all of their stadiums out there in South Philly. But let me go over to the chat really quick. We got Edward Christian Aquan. Phillies game is later on. By the way, what's your insight on us trading for Merrill Kelly if Arizona sells? I think Merrill Kelly is like a perfect fit for this team. He is a guy that you wouldn't think is going to cost a whole lot because he's like a middle of the road kind of starting pitcher. Going to be one of those guys who's an upgrade over Blackburn, but not someone that you're going to be like, oh, great, it's Merrill Kelly pitching day. Like, there's going to be times where we get really worried about him. But serviceable, should get the job done as your fourth or fifth starter in this rotation. He's 36 years old. He's a free agent at the end of this year. So I think Merrill Kelly is a really, really savvy kind of addition that the Mets can add just to get some stability out of this rotation so we don't have days like on Thursday in Game 2 against Baltimore where we're throwing that slot bullpen game that unfortunately we have seen a little too often here lately. So I do like the idea of trading for Merrill Kelly. Let's see. We got Jose Lopez Moya. Again, Taylor needs a better hitting coach than Chavez. The whole team does, man. I mean, fortunately, the Mets able to pull this one out. They obviously lose, or they don't lose, but they were very nearly on the brink of losing Game 1 yesterday. Just 2 hits entering the 8th inning, trailing now 3-1 after Brosban gave up the big home run. Yeah, some guy. Royal fans are cool people, but they were on the brink of trailing, or the brink of losing. I got thrown off, guys. Sorry, but. And then, of course, the 8th inning, they explode for all those runs, and then a few more in the 9th. But, yeah, we know this. We've been talking about it. Eric Chavez has got to go. I am not moved by this series, even though obviously happy about the Mets winning. Still, the offense has been a big issue for this team, even with the 2 wins here in Kansas City yesterday and here on Saturday afternoon. RM1042, what's up, man? Class A is the talk right now to shore up the bullpen. It looks like the Indians are going to be selling, the Guardians, Cleveland, whatever you want to call them. Sorry, I'm not PC, but apparently, they are probably going to be selling. They are in 4th place in the American League Central, I believe, and they are maybe 4 or 5 games under 500. They have always been a team that sells, even if they were in contention. So Clase would be awesome, and you take those responsibilities of being the electric closer that he has always been off of his shoulders, because he basically becomes a setup man to lead the bridge to Edwin Diaz. So I love the idea of Emmanuel Clase. Can we get Jose Ramirez in that trade too? Why don't we just make it a whole package of both of them, right? That would be pretty sweet. Let's see. Stoney says, glad you've seen the Mets win too. Have a safe drive home. Thank you, Stoney. Appreciate it. We're going to be heading back tomorrow. Let's see. Jose Lopez. Mitch Keller is the pitcher the Mets need. Mitch Keller is someone that we have talked about a lot on this channel. Think it's a great idea, like as far as Mitch Keller, the player, but then we also have to consider, hey, he's under contract for 3 more years, which I personally would love, but also it's going to cost you a little bit more. We have heard Mauricio's name put out there as far as the starter for that trade, and there's still going to be more that needs to be added to get a guy like Mitch Keller, so we'll see what happens, but I think the Mets definitely do need one of those middle of the rotation arms. We're going to go another about maybe 10 minutes or so, but guys, be sure to leave this video a like. Really appreciate it. We're already at 10. I want to get to at least 20 here before we finish, so thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I'm sorry I didn't have my live yesterday. Again, the game ended late. The rain delayed. It was fireworks tonight, so a little bit difficult, but a great win last night and a great win today, and both of them kind of in different fashions. Yesterday was the offense coming out of the doldrums of not really doing anything and then exploding in the 8th and the 9th inning. And today, the offense, again, doesn't really get the job done to the best of their ability, but they get really solid pitching, and from a couple guys that you wouldn't have expected it from. I mean, you get it from Frankie Montas, who goes 5+ innings, leadoff double, and then back-to-back doubles in the 6th inning. He gets pulled. They go to Chris Davinsky. They go to Reed Garrett, and Reed Garrett with the pickoff attempt to second, it ends up advancing the runner as it trickles out into center field. So we're talking 2-1 ball game. They already just made it 2-1. Nobody outs on the tying run on third, and Reed Garrett was nails. He gets Bobby Witt Jr. to pop out. He gets another ground out, really slick play from Luis Angel Acuna, and then one more route down to first base, I believe it was. Really solid job from Reed Garrett there in the 6th inning, thrown into the mix and gets the job done easily. And then you go to Chris Davinsky, and it's not the cleanest of innings by any means. He ends up issuing a walk, he hits a guy with a pitch, and we're looking at runners at the corners. Really, really impressive job, though, by Davinsky, who is probably the guy I trust the most out of any of the Uber driver pitchers that we have been throwing, only because Davinsky has done it before. Davinsky has been in World Series games, as the setup guy for the Astros during all of those playoff runs that they had. So hopefully Chris Davinsky can just kind of be like what Ryan Stanek was at the end of last year, a veteran pitcher with postseason experience who looks like he's on his last leg and probably won't be the guy that you want in most times, but can still get the job done from time to time. Explosive Diarrhea, Tony, did you see Martino report Mets wanted to trade Pete for Pete Crow in 2023? I did not see that. That is very interesting. So the Mets, during that really bad season in 2023, were potentially willing to re-trade for Pete Crow Armstrong by sending Pete Alonso. That is nuts. That is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I couldn't even imagine where this team would be without Pete Alonso. But also, you look at Pete Crow Armstrong, starting center fielder in the National League. 25 home runs, 25 stolen bases. If the Mets had Pete Crow Armstrong still, man, we would be impossible to beat with how he is going this year. But that is really interesting. I didn't see that report. Thanks for bringing it up. Explosive Diarrhea, appreciate it. Jose Lopez, how about Clase and Stephen Kwan? Stephen Kwan is one of those guys who is a big average guy, gets a lot of base hits, good on base percentage, all of that stuff. So someone that I'd be interested in. I still think they need a guy that will come into this lineup, hit behind Pete Alonso, drive in a lot of runs, pick up the weight that has been left behind for the most part by Brett Beatty, by Mark Vientos. And I'm not hating on them. They've had really solid weekends, both of those guys. But obviously they haven't lived up to what we were expecting out of them here this season. So to get a guy like a Eugenio Suarez or a Jarren Duran that you can basically plug and play at any spot in the lineup is kind of more what I am interested in. But if the Mets are trading for Emmanuel Clase, you get a solid lockdown reliever in the late innings, and then to get Stephen Kwan as well, who, similar to Duran, not as talented, but you can basically put him at any spot. Great move there. So let me wrap it up here, guys. We got about 5 more minutes before we are going to be heading back to our hotel for the weekend. But Edward Christian Aquan, drive safe, brother, and LGM. F. Michael K. Yes, I agree with that. Day back tomorrow, and F. Michael K. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Stoney, what do you think Mets will try to trade for? Tony, starting pitcher, bullpen piece, or adder, or all three? I really do believe it's going to be all three, especially with the news that Jesse Winker is going back on the injured list. So Winker is sent to the injured. Shoot me in the face, but it is what it is. I think the Mets really need to just basically look at it this way. Jesse Winker may come back this year, and if he does, it wouldn't be until late August. And then there's no guarantee he's going to be good this year, and there's no guarantee he's not going to get hurt again this year, because he literally got hurt his second day off of his 65-day injured list stint. So the Mets need to evaluate every potential bat that could help replace Winker. They need a bullpen guy. They're going to get Brooks Raley back from his rehab assignment, who has been pitching really well in the minor leagues. And then I think they do need a pitcher in the rotation. So we'll see what happens. But let me go a couple more chats here, and then we're going to wrap it up. Like I said, but guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like if you have not already. Stoney says, just want to say, if that's your wife, you guys make a cute couple. How about that? Hey, yeah. It's actually my sister. Just kidding. No, it's not. But thank you, Stoney. I appreciate it. Yeah, we have had a really fun weekend. We got some Mets fans over here. So lots of Mets fans, and it's been really, really cool. But guys, I think that is where we're going to end things. But a really nice, clean 3-1 win for the Mets. Juan Soto with his 2-run homer. Jeff McNeil with a insurance run in the 9th inning. Edwin Diaz with the 6-out save. They take the series. They do what we were asking them to do. Just win 2 out of 3. More. If they could sweep tomorrow, my goodness, I'll be over the moon. Like I said this time last week, heading into these final 2 series against the Orioles and against the Royals, just win 4 out of 6. So far, they are 3-2. Win tomorrow, and my dream will come true, and I will be very, very happy. So I appreciate it very much. But guys, thank you for being here. Fast Fun Poker Jamie, LGM. When's the first tailgate meetup? So guys, if you want to set something like that up, let me know. I will be at Citi Field next Saturday for David Wright retirement day, or David Wright jersey retirement day. So I will be there on Saturday against the Reds, and I will also be there Sunday. I will also be at the game on Wednesday afternoon game against the Angels. So next week, if you guys are trying to do a meetup, you're trying to do a tailgate thing, I am all about it. Let's make it happen. Join my Discord if you want to set that up. The link to that is in my bio. We already got about 10 other people in there. We're talking Mets every single day. So if you guys want to set something like that up, I am game for it. We will make it happen, and we can all buy seats next to each other and make a really fun time. So be sure to go to the Discord link in my bio. Until next time, though, this is the end of today's stream. I am Tony Metro. This is Mrs. Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue. Let's go Mets. Say, let's go Mets!
Let's go Mets!